Check it out, guys. Good cop, bad cop. Okay, look, I've been away for a while. It's the best I got. So apparently the last night was so bad I had to take about a week and a half off from YouTube in order to recover. But we're back. We are back on the roll, and oh no, I'm reviewing a last night toy. This probably wasn't the best idea to come back to, but hey, I'm gonna give it a fair shake. It's, I can't hold the movie against the toy line necessarily, now can I? So let's take a fair and honest look at Last Night Barricade from the premium. Is it premium or premier? I think it's premier. Either way, it's way overcharged if you go most places. Get it at Walmart. It's much, much cheaper. So, looking at the new deluxe Barricade, the survivor of movie 1, finally coming back properly in movie 3, or movie 5 now. He was in movie 3 too. So, look, he's cast as a brand new dark blue police car, shedding some of his pitch black look from the original movie. I actually really like this. See, the white and black police car thing was always Prowl's identity, so I always felt a little bit weird. But hey, this actually looks pretty cool. So it does look very distinct, very different, and I actually really like it. I think it's a good choice. Now here's the thing, most of this, or quite a bit of this actually, is in paint. Most of the front section is cast in black plastic, like you see there, but a lot of the rear half is cast in the blue. And it's actually paint matched pretty well. Of course, all of this for the translucent parts is painted over in blue as well. And it's really hard to tell the plastic from the paint. That's actually a really good thing, because it's something Hasbro hasn't gotten right in the past. Speaking of paint, we have the police deco on the side, white doors, along with the movie-style Decepticon symbol. I know they're hard to tell apart. The key is the number of points in the eyes. It's 4 for the movie, 3 for standard Decepticon. Just depends on how many corners it takes to make the shape. So that's how you generally tell. And then, of course, you can't have a Barricade without this, to punish and enslave, which to this point has been the only real identity he's had. So I kind of like that they've kind of cast away his old look that is kind of Prowl, kind of streetwise, and given him something completely his own. I don't recall another dark blue police car in Transformers, so that works pretty well. Light bar on top, of course. One side blue, one side red. All works well. And you can see inside him through the windows. No seats, no nothing like that. Hey, why would he have them? He's a Decepticon, for crying out loud. Taillights painted on. That's nice. Nothing in the way of a license plate or exhaust. And then on the front, yep, the grille, heavily painted. You get more police lights there. Headlights painted as well. And more the blue painted through. As I said, this is actually black parts over here. So, there's actually quite a bit of paint going into this guy. I'm hoping that's where some of that new $20 price point actually went to, because otherwise, this really stings. One thing about the vehicle mode is, like a lot of movie toys, it does rely on a lot of paneling and pegging, and I couldn't really, it's very difficult to keep everything tabbed together without something popping off. In particular, the front end always had at least one tab that didn't want to hold still, but we got it just enough for this review to hold up. Now, speaking of holding up, he does have a decent little roll to him. Wheels are pinned in. That's nice to see. And you can see weapon storage underneath, which I'm going to go ahead and pluck the weapons off so we can set them aside for later. Hi, Barricade. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you that one of his weapons actually pegs to the back windshield to create these very cool kind of anti-aircraft. Well, I could say that they look like anti-aerial vehicle thing, but at that angle they could be falling. They could be, he could be firing rockets or grenades or something and falling down. It's kind of a cool look. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit more unique than just your standard, I'm sticking my rifle out the top of my roof. So that said, that out of the way, let's get this guy transformed and actually see what the new Barricade's got. I'm going to start by plucking his car doors and pulling all of this upwards, because hey, oh hey, look at that. Well, we're back to movie level quality, aren't we? Alright, so, yeah, hinge came undone, but yeah, step one, get this massive shell out of the way so you can transform the robot mode parts. Alright, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and do the legs now. Get these out of the way. They double hinge here and here in this weird little way, so you can kind of have ankle that kind of looks like that. You can adjust it for a heel spur. That way he doesn't actually fall over. That's always nice on an action figure, not falling over. Alright, I'll do the same thing to the other side. There we go. Now, everything else is pretty simple. You just untab things and get them folded out. His arms do have a interesting little double hinge here where they come up in torso and then bend downward into position. So you got to remember that direction, which is a little odd. Doors either go to the side or they go up. I kind of prefer them going up because that's the old Barricade thing. And I'll straighten out the arms like so. Do it again this way. Elbow forward, hand up. Once you get the arms into position, like that. Torso comes down, head automatically reveals, and then we go back to the backpack. Fold the doors inward. Or can we fold them in? No. Fold them inward. Press everything to the back. That's going to give us our Barricade in his robot mode. I'm going to go ahead and leave him like this for now, since the movie kind of wants you to forget these little door things. But we're gonna deal with those here in a bit. And I'll go ahead and get him back into frame here. So, we're dealing with a bit of a different Barricade than we are typically used to. So that's going to be either a great thing or not so great thing. We're gonna get into that. We're going to discuss it somewhat. So, of course, we're going to look at the head first because that's probably the most talked about point on this new design. So, Barricade's head is very different from his iconic look. He's got double eyes going on now, which I believe he had in his original form, but much more sleek, much more streamlined head. He doesn't have those big horns anymore. Doesn't have the big kind of a shrapnel-looking jaw. He's kind of doing a new thing now with his head, which is a little bit jarring because it feels like he takes away his identity a little bit. Not that we're not used to that in the movie lines, but hey, I guess it's just nice to have the boy back, isn't it? He's got a Decepticon symbol tattooed on his forehead now, too. That's how you know he's dedicated. Alright, so looking him over. He is pretty much what you would expect of a typical movie toy. He's a little bit smallish for his size, and he's a little bit lightweight, as you could see. He does rely on a bunch of panels in order to create his vehicle mode. I still hate that about these movie toys. I think so many years of generations between Titans Return and Combiner Wars kind of spoiled me to Transformers that use their bulk as their robot mode parts rather than hiding it behind panels. But this is the movie thing, so we have to stick with it, don't we? Overall, the proportions are fine. He looks decent enough. He looks vaguely powerful and strong-armish, so I can't really complain there. I will say, I'll go ahead and flip his little panels up because I feel like that gives him a little bit more of the look he had from his original toy, which I kind of prefer. I need something to kind of pull me back into like vintage Barricade here, just so I can have, I like the new look, but outside the head. I like the new look, but I could use a little bit more of the classic here. So he does at least keep the same basic structure, doors and wheels on shoulders, front section, classic Transformer design there, and he looks decent enough. Hollowing, you can see a little bit here and there. Just want to make sure we point it out. Yeah, even though they are $15, and even though they come in a box now, there's still plenty of parts that do feel a little bit more hollow than they used to be on these toys. So that's something to be aware of. Also, the paint is actually not too bad on this guy. You get some of the blue on the forearm is painted. Of course, everything from the front of the car now makes up his torso detail, so that all works. Eyes painted on, of course, and then some white for the kneecaps. And that pulls the white in from the shoulders, so that's not too bad. That's not too bad. He's kind of breaking it up a little bit. The gray is welcome. I'm not sure about the tan, though. That's a little bit odd and out of nowhere. I kind of wish it was either another gunmetal or just more of the gray. I think would have been fine. Let the blue shine on its own a little bit and not introduce another color randomly. Kind of felt Hasbro Unicron Trilogy-ish. But beyond that, yeah, form-wise, perfectly fine. Let's go to the articulation count. Let's see if you get any more articulation for that extra $5. So, ball-jointed neck. That works. Always dig those. Universal shoulders? Yep. Now, this is where you're going to have to play with the shoulder kibble a little bit in order to increase the range of motion here, but you can if you want to. I'll leave that up. Bicep rotation, full 360 degrees. Elbow bend. Wrist bend as well. You can see backwards on there, serve, written on one hand. Let's see what the other hand says. Protect. That's not what he says. Incoming prowl repaint down the line. Nothing at the waist. Full ball joints at the hips. Mine are a little bit loose now that I actually play with it a little bit. Thighs worked well. 360 degree swivel. 90 degree bend there at the knee. Nothing as far as ankle rocking goes, but with all those extra hinges down there, you can pretty much create whatever balance you happen to need. So that works out well enough. He is fairly posable, but not to any like amazing degree. I think this is pretty much standard level articulation these days. But hey, at least he can do that. That's something. That's something to be said, isn't it? I think so. So let's see what else he can do. He has a baton weapon, which is nice, and you can mount it either straight up into his hand, like so, if you want a riot baton thing, or if you want to go straight up tonfa, he can do that too, which is actually really cool. And then he has a pistol weapon as well, which is straight up RoboCop, just a big hand cannon. I dig these kind of weapons, so that's cool to see as well. Plugging in right there. We'll make him a lefty. Yeah, why not? The nice thing about these weapons is, aside from giving you both a melee and a projectile weapon, which is a neat little thing, and they're both iconic of a police officer, you also have little slots on the sides of his legs where he can actually store them away, which is also very nice and gives you a little bit of the iconography you're looking for with the police officer's weapons just kind of strapped to the hips and whatnot. Yeah, that works. That's what we're looking for. So, fully armed, fully equipped. Oh, wait. We do have that weapon from his, vehicle mode. So, let's figure out what we can do with that. Well, if we plug it down in on the underside of his forearm and close it up, you have a very movie-esque arm-style weapon. Big Gatling gun, which works. I kind of like that. I kind of wish it could store away in the vehicle mode. I couldn't find any place it could store underneath him. Just wasn't enough gaps or anything for it. But it is a really cool thing. I like that it works in both modes. I like that it looks good in both modes. And this gives him both a movie-esque weapon, a G1 style weapon, and a melee weapon. So that all kind of works for me. You know what, guys? I think I might like this toy. That said, do not pay online price. Do not pay Hasbro Toy Shop price for any reason. This, do not let a fancy box and some extra paint fool you. This feels like a Movie 4 toy. There's a reason there are Movie 4 toys in this toy line, because they do feel like they come from the same toy line. I mean, they do now, but I mean, like, you know what I mean. This guy, this Barricade, is a decent figure. I do like it. I like some of the new identity they gave it. I like the new color scheme, and I like the weaponry. The heads, but what are you gonna do? It's not worth that extra $5. If you can find it at Walmart for 15 something, fine. You're gonna be okay. But if you're like, don't be fooled by a fancy box. It's just a box. You're still getting the same old movie deluxes we've always gotten.